Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Amanullah. You're watching my YouTube channel, Dr. Aman's video. Dear friend, today we are going to discuss the antibiotic susceptibility or antibiotic sensitivity testing of bacterial pathogen inside the laboratory. First of all, you should know that why do we perform antibiotic sensitivity or antibiotic susceptibility testing? We perform antibiotic susceptibility testing to know the status of resistance or sensitivity of a particular pathogen against the antibiotics which are commonly used for the treatment of that antibiotic. Subsequently, this antibiotic susceptibility testing provide a guide to the clinician for the better treatment or for the better choice of antibiotic for the treatment of bacterial infection. I have wrote something on the whiteboard, sorry. Antibiotic susceptibility testings, there are different methods used for the antibiotic susceptibility testing. All these methods are based on two approaches, that is culture and genetics. All those methods which are based on culture, it means that in these methods we culture the bacterial pathogen or we grow the bacterial pathogen on the bench of laboratory, and then further we process for antibiotic susceptibility testing. While those methods which are based on genetics, in these methods we do not grow bacteria on the bench of laboratory, only we detect antibiotic resistance genes through molecular methods like polymerase chain reaction or PCR. So, the methods which based on cultures can be divided into three broad categories. One method is disk diffusion method. Disk diffusion method is the most widely used method for the antibiotic sensitivity testing across the globe. Therefore, we will discuss these methods in very detail. The second method is dilution methods. In dilution methods, what we do, we prepare a serial dilution of antibiotic with increasing or decreasing concentration. Like for example, you are preparing a dilution, two-fold dilution like 2 in test tubes, like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 microgram per ml of antibiotic. So, this is the increasing concentration of antibiotic, and then we test a standard inoculum of bacteria against these increasing or from that side decreasing concentration of antibiotic, and in this method we can easily calculate the minimal inhibitory concentration or MIC of antibiotic against a particular pathogen. So, dilution methods are quantitative methods because these methods tell you, or these methods measure the concentration of a particular concentration of antibiotics which stop the visible growth of bacteria in dilution. Therefore, these dilution methods are quantitative methods. Further, dilution methods can be divided into two types. One is macro dilution while other is micro dilution. Macro dilution is the dilution of bacteria in a test tube which was conventionally used by scientists in the early ages of microbiology. Like you can see that we have different test tube and we make dilution of concentration in increasing or decreasing concentration, and then we add a standard bacterial inoculum into each tube. I would like to tell you an example. For example, if it is this tube contains 2 microgram per ml of antibiotic, this contains 4, this contains 6 and further on 8. And you add a standard inoculum to each tube and then you put all the tube for overnight incubation at 37 degrees C. Next day you observe for visible growth. So, you see that here is visible growth, here is visible growth, but at this concentration you don't see a visible growth, then this 6 microgram per ml will be the minimal inhibitory concentration of this pathogen. Therefore, this dilution method is a quantitative method because this tell you a particular concentration of antibiotic which prevent the growth of pathogen. Microdilution is the dilution in test tube, while if you prepare the same dilution in a micro titer plate, you have seen the micro titer plates which are commonly used in ELISA, in other assays in immunology and serology. So, you prepare the same dilution but in a very minute quantity like 0.01 to 0.5 ml. Therefore, these types of dilution is known as micro dilution. Otherwise, the basic concept or the basic mechanism is similar in both macro dilution and micro dilution. So, dilution methods are quantitative methods because in dilution methods we measure the minimal inhibitory concentration of a particular antibiotic against its respective pathogen. Automation. In automation we use different instruments which directly automatically inoculate and apply different drugs and read the results by instruments. You do not need to put your efforts by yourself. So, these type of methods are known as automation, or inside the laboratory different automatic analyzer or instruments are used for antibiotic susceptibility testing. Most common are microscan, Sensititer, or many more like Phonex, Vitek 2 or Micronaut. There are other different automatic analyzer which is used for the antibiotic susceptibility testing. In these automatic analyzer or automatic instrument, we also measure the minimal inhibitory concentration, and here we also used the serial dilution of antibiotic. Now come to disk diffusion method. That what is disk diffusion method, which is most commonly used across the globe. First of all, in disk diffusion method, I would like to tell you one more thing, that the dilution methods can be performed both in broth microdilution or broth macrodilution method, while dilution methods can be performed in agar. Like in when the media will be in molten form, you will add the antibiotic and then you will leave for the solidification. So, microdilution or macrodilution methods can be performed both in agar and broth. Come to the disk diffusion method. In disk diffusion method, we used disk of antibiotics, a small disk of antibiotic which are 6 millimeter in diameter, and these discs are impregnated or these are pre-soaked with the known concentration of antibiotic. I can show you, here is a vial of antibiotic. Many of you have seen this vial, and this vial contain here antibiotic. These antibiotic are 6 millimeter in diameter. So, this method is known as disk diffusion method because we use antibiotic disc which are impregnated with the known concentration of antibiotic. Second, we use diffusion. How? We use diffusion because these antibiotics are placed on the surface of agar. The most commonly used agar is Muller-Henton agar. You may have seen this is a Muller-Henton agar with applied antibiotic disc. So, because we apply these discs on the surface of the agar, so the antibiotic present in this disc start diffusion into the agar. So, we use disc, antibiotic disc, and antibiotic diffuse in the agar from these discs. Therefore, this method is known as disc diffusion method. And this method was developed by two scientists, Kirby and Bohr. Therefore, this method is also known as Kirby-Bohr method. So, Kirby-Bohr method or disc diffusion method is a qualitative method because this method only tells you that this pathogen is resistant, sensitive or intermediate sensitive, I, not 1, or intermediate sensitive. It does not calculate or it does not measure the minimal inhibitory concentration of antibiotic. It only tells you that at this particular concentration of antibiotic, this organism is resistant, sensitive or intermediate. It will not provide any data about the increasing or decreasing concentration of antibiotic or minimal inhibitory concentration. Now, what are the steps or how can we perform this diffusion method on the bench of laboratory? Because it is commonly used method, I would like to tell you the steps or the procedure of antibiotic susceptibility testing. So, first of all, we need pure culture or pure growth of a pathogen or any test bacteria. Because in this diffusion method, we want to test bacteria against a panel of antibiotic. So, first of all, we need pure culture of a bacterial pathogen. Then we will prepare a bacterial solution of this pure culture. What we will do? First, we will prepare a bacterial solution of this pure culture in normal saline or nutrient broth. You can use which is available to you, either nutrient broth or normal saline. So, you will prepare bacterial suspension of this pure culture. How? First of all, you will take 3 to 5 isolated colony with the help of wire loop, and you will emulsify those colony in a test tube containing normal saline or nutrient broth. After emulsification, the bacterial suspension will be ready for further use. Now, what you do further with this solution, because this solution contains bacterial cells and you want to test these bacterial cell against antibiotic, therefore, it is very important to standardize the number of bacterial cell in this solution, or we will calibrate this bacterial suspension. So, how we can calibrate? We will compare this solution with a 0.5 McFarland standard, as I have discussed in my previous lecture. So, we will compare this bacterial suspension with 0.5 McFarland or turbidity standards. After equal turbidity of this bacterial suspension, we can further use for further steps. Or if you have a nephrometer, an instrument which calibrate the bacterial suspension at 0.5 McFarland standard, then you can use that instrument which is known as nephrometer. So, after standardization of a bacterial suspension, you will have to make a bacterial loan, LAWN loan, a bacterial loan on the Muller-Henton agar. As here you can see that there is a bacterial lawn on the surface of the Muller-Henton agar. How will you prepare this bacterial lawn? First of all, you will take a cotton swab. I am sorry, I do not have here a cotton swab. Suppose it is a cotton swab. So, you will have to take a sterile cotton swab and you will put in the bacterial suspension. After that, you will have to press gently at the wall of the test tube in order to remove the excessive fluid from the cotton swab. Then after that, you will take a Muller-Henton agar plate and you will start preparing lawn on the surface of the Muller-Henton agar. After inoculating in one direction, then you need to, then we will rotate the plate at 60-degree angle. Again we will inoculate the whole plate at this angle, then we will further inoculate at 60° C and we will inoculate the surface of the plate. Finally, we will homogenize the margin of the plate in this direction, in a circular direction. So, the loan will be prepared on the surface of a Mueller-Hinton agar. Now, the question is that why do we remove the excessive fluid? We remove the excessive fluid because if there is extra fluid on the surface of the agar, Mueller-Hinton agar, this will disturb the diffusion of antibiotic, which can disrupt the zone of inhibition. So, therefore, we will have to avoid the excessive fluid on the surface of the Mueller-Hinton agar. After few minutes, you will have to wait for few minutes after making loan in order to dry the loan. Then after 10 to 15 minutes, you will take antibiotic and you will have to place the antibiotic on the surface of the Mueller-Hinton agar. How you will place antibiotic on the surface of the Mueller-Hinton agar? You can use needle for the antibiotic, or you can use forceps for placing the antibiotic, or you can use dispenser. There are semi-automated dispenser where you can put these antibiotic vial, you can put these antibiotic vial, and then you will have to press the dispenser on the plate. In this way, you can place the antibiotic disc on the surface of the Mueller-Hinton agar. Now, how many antibiotic you can put on the surface of the Mueller-Hinton agar? On a standard plate of 90 millimeter diameter, you can put 6 antibiotic, and these antibiotic, there are some important points which you need to consider. The first point is the distance between the edge of the plate, this is the outer edge of the plate, and the antibiotic disc, this distance should be 15 millimeter. I would like to draw here. If this is the plate and you are going to place antibiotic, so the distance from the edge of the plate and antibiotic should be 15 millimeter. And then you will put or place another antibiotic disc here. So, this distance should be 20 millimeter. So, the antibiotic disc should be 20 millimeter apart from each other and 15 millimeter apart from the edge of the disc in order to get a proper zone of the antibiotic if present on the next day. One more important thing which we will take care about the depth of the Mueller-Hinton agar into the plate, because when we pour Mueller-Hinton agar, so it forms a particular depth in the lid of the plate, in the plate of the Petri dishes. So, this depth should be equal to 4 millimeter. If this depth is less than 4 millimeter, then the antibiotic will diffuse far away and it will give you false sensitive zone, या false sensitive antibiotic, या false large zone. If this depth is larger than or greater than 4 millimeter, then the antibiotic will fuse to the only vicinity of the disc. Therefore, the zone of the inhibition will be small and it can result in false resistance. Therefore, the depth of the Mueller-Hinton agar is very important, and this depth is controlled, or this depth of 4 millimeter can be done by pouring of 25 ml of media in a standard plate. So, these are the important point, troubleshooting and steps of the antibiotic susceptibility testing. So, after putting antibiotic disc on the lawn of the bacteria, we incubate the plate in inverted position at 35° C for 16 to 24 hours. Then on the next day, we take out all these plate and we observe for the zone of inhibition like this. The halo area, the prevention of the growth in the vicinity of the antibiotic disc is the zone of inhibition. So, we observe the zone of inhibition. If there is no zone of inhibition, like in this case, the bacteria has grown to the edge of the disc, then it is resistant to this antibiotic. But if there is a zone of inhibition, then we will measure this zone in millimeter with the help of a scale, a rule, or a vernier caliper. So I would like to show you the zone of inhibition, that how will you measure the zone of inhibition. Suppose it is the Petri plate and it is the antibiotic disc. Now, if there is a zone of inhibition, this black line is considered a zone of inhibition, and beyond this black lining there is a confluent growth of the bacteria in the form of lawn, then you will measure the zone of inhibition from this end to this end. This will be the zone of inhibition, and you will measure the zone of inhibition from the downside of the plate. This is the downside of the plate. So from this downside you will measure the zone of the inhibition against a reflecting light, because reflecting light will give you better resolution at the edges of the zone or at the margin of the zone of inhibition. So after measuring the zone of inhibition, for example, this is the 12 millimeter zone, we measure that this is a 12 millimeter zone. Now we will compare this zone to the chart provided by the Clinical and Laboratory Standard Institute, which is known as CLSI. I will do a short lecture on CLSI in my next video. So this Clinical and Laboratory Standard Institute provide a guideline for the zones of inhibition for particular antibiotic and particular pathogen. Let's say this is the Staphylococcus aureus and this is the zone of a linezolid, an antibiotic which is commonly used, not commonly used, which can be used against Staphylococcus aureus. So if it is 12 millimeter, then you will have to compare this zone with a chart or a break points, which are known as break points provided by the CLSI. Here you can see R, intermediate, and susceptible or sensitive. So you can see that it will be like that. If your zone is less than or equal to 8 millimeter, then it is resistant. Okay? If it is between 9 and 10 millimeter, then it is intermediate susceptible, or if it is greater than or equal to 11 millimeter, then it is susceptible to linezolid. So CLSI provide the break point for each antibiotic used against a particular pathogen. And you can see that the CLSI breakpoints are like this. I will do a short video on CLSI guideline. Then you will report that Staphylococcus aureus is sensitive, intermediate sensitive, or resistance to that antibiotic. I hope that you would find this video interesting and a valuable piece of information. And I tried to cover all the aspects of the antibiotic susceptibility testing. If you like this video, then I would request you to subscribe my YouTube channel Dr. Aman's Video, and of course try to hit bell icon in order to get notification for my upcoming video. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Fi Amanillah.